Hello everyone, welcome to Marketing 454 Advertising and Promotion. Okay, this is chapter 20. Chapter 20. In this chapter, let's talk about the regulations of advertising and promotion. The regulations by government. Okay, and these are the learning objectives. Okay, we talk about the role and functions of various regulatory agencies. Okay, etc. Advertising controls, right? Let's have an overview of regulations, right? There are many controls on advertising, okay? First, there's a self-regulation. Self-regulation by the advertising industry itself, right? There's a state regulation and federal regulation, right? FTC, FCC, FDA, USPS all have regulations with regard to advertising activities. Okay? That the controls also involved in product liability litigations. Okay, in liability litigation. Regulation also affect the entire industry. Okay? Affect the entire industry. For example, ban on broadcast media of cigarette advertising in the 1970s. You never see cigarette advertising on TV, right? Have you ever seen a cigarette advertising on TV? Probably never, right? And but you do see cigarettes sometimes on billboards and others, right? On the print media, but not on broadcast media. Yeah. Just regulations. Okay? Let's talk about first self-regulation. What is self-regulation? Basically, the industry wants to regulate themselves. Right? They put a restriction on themselves. That's pretty good, smart. Right? That is preemptive strike. Kind of like preemptive strike. Instead of letting you, the government, put regulation on me, I'll self-regulate myself. So then you feel that you don't need to. Okay, we are already self-regulated, disciplined, good citizens, right? So what is self-regulation? Voluntary internal regulation practiced and promoted within the industry. Okay? Is a way to limit government interference. You want to limit the government interference? Hey, regulate yourself. Okay? That's self-regulation. Okay? Self-regulations are done by advertisers and by agencies. And they ensure messages are consistent with the company's image and claims are reasonable and verifiable. Okay? Make sure you have good image. Whatever you claim in the advertisement is reasonable, okay? And verifiable, can be verified. Okay? Agencies have standards on type of advertising they produce. Yeah, there may be some type of ads that they do not want to produce. Right? Agency client contracts. There's agency client contracts protect agencies from legal and ethical risks. Agencies use creative review boards and lawyers to review the ads. And before they create it, they make it, produce it, they want to have the lawyers and the creative review boards to look at it. Okay? That's by advertisers and agencies. Okay? There is also self-regulation by trade associations. Trade associations. That's the industries prone to controversy develop their own advertising guidelines. Okay? Many professions maintain guidelines through local, state, and national organizations. Okay? And the Ocean firm, just go on the website of which is on the right, specializes in advertising and integrated marketing communication law. Right? Okay, it's like a law firm. Self-regulation by businesses and by the businesses themselves. Right? You heard about the Better Business Bureau, right? Better Business Bureau, BBB. Right? It promotes fair advertising and selling practices across industries at local level in local BBB. There is also BBB national program, independent, non-profit, third-party administrator of advertising industry's self-regulatory system at national level. Okay? There is a appellate unit. It's like appellate court. Appellate, you can appeal. Appellate unit called National Advertising Review Board, NARB. National Advertising Review Board. Okay, if you disagree with their decision, you want to appeal. Okay? The BBB national program partners with advertising and marketing organizations to create an effective self-regulatory system. They follow a specific set of policies and procedures that can be found on its website, like this one here, right? The advertising industry's process of voluntary self-regulation. Okay? The BBB national program and NAD or NARB, National Advertising Division, or NAD monitors and examines advertising for truth and accuracy. Okay? You cannot lie. You cannot deceive people in your advertisement. It has to be truthful, it has to be accurate in your presentation and your representation. And they review complaints from consumers and consumer groups, trade associations, local BBBs, and competitors. And the competitor may complain. Okay? They're going to review that. National Advertising Division, they're going to review that. Okay? Its lawyers of NAD scrutinize all media to find misleading advertisements. They look at all the media. To look for any misleading advertisements, and then take actions. Okay? The National Advertising Review Board, the appeal board, is a appeal board for additional review by advertisers who disagree with NAD's findings. Okay? You disagree with NAD, go to NARB to appeal. Okay? It is composed of national advertisers, advertising agencies, and public members. Okay? But there's no legal standing to stop advertiser, though. Okay? It's not the court. Okay? It's not called appellate court. It's appellate board. Okay? Also, the BBB has this Children's Advertising Review Board, or CARU. Yeah. They review and evaluate child-directed advertising in all media. Any ads targeting children, they can look at, right? They revised guidelines in 2022, and they oversee online privacy issues that affect children. They seek voluntary cooperation or referral to federal regulatory body. Okay, and they found something, they hope you cooperate with them and make corrections. If not, they can refer it to federal regulatory bodies. Then you'll be in trouble. Okay. And there is a Direct Selling Self-Regulatory Council. Direct Selling Self-Regulatory Council, called DSSRC. It was established in 2019 in partnership with Direct Selling Association, enhance consumer confidence in electronic retailing. Okay? The goal is to discourage the use of false and unsubstantiated claims, right? And to enhance the truthfulness, accuracy, and adequate substantiation of all advertising and marketing claims. Okay? Encourage good use, truthfulness, and discourage false claims. Okay? There is also the Digital Advertising Accountability Program, DAAP, Digital Advertising Accountability Program. It's the data privacy program that enforces self-regulatory standards for online and mobile advertising. It's good to know there's so many things there, right? So many bodies self-regulating. Self-regulation principles for online behavior advertising. They set some principles for online behavior advertising. Right? There is the education principle, right? There is the transparency principle. There is a consumer control principle. There is a data security principle. There is the material changes principle. There is a sensitive data principle and the accountability principle. Okay. And also there are advertising associations, trade groups, trade associations, like American Association of Advertising Agencies, 4As. Okay, is set to establish standards of practice, and its own creative code. Okay, there is the American Advertising Federation, AAF. Has standards for truthful and responsible advertising. It's involved in advertising legislation and influences agencies to abide by its code and principles. Okay. This here is the 4As, the standards of practice, 4As, the creative code. In their code of conduct. It's called the Creative Code of 4As, American Association of Advertising Agencies. Okay, here I'm going to read for you. Okay, we, the members of the American Association of Advertising Agencies, in addition to supporting and obeying the laws and legal regulations pertaining to advertising, undertake to extend and broaden the application of high ethical standards. Specifically, we will not knowingly create advertising that contains A, false or misleading statements or exaggerations, visual or verbal. B, testimonials that do not reflect the real opinion of the individuals involved. C, press claims that are misleading. Okay. D, claims insufficiently supported or that distort the true meaning or practicable application of statements made by professional or scientific authority. Okay. And E, statements, suggestions, or pictures offensive to public decency or minority segments of the population. So here are the creative code of conduct for AAAA. Okay? Self-regulation by media. And the media themselves have self-regulations, like the newspapers, magazines. They have requirements and restrictions depending on the size and nature of publication. Okay? And television and radios have their rules, right? Or they were regulated by NAB codes that are no longer in force. All commercials for network TV must be reviewed to meet acceptable standards and appropriateness for certain audiences. Okay? Social media platforms now have some advertising restrictions. Promotion of illegal products, use of trademarks belonging to others, and proscription of deceptive practices. Okay? Remember the got milk ad, right? By the dairy industry. Yeah? Censors initially rejected a humorous got milk spot that showed the children watching an elderly neighbor push a wheelbarrow, right? Suddenly the man's arms rip off, right? The arms rip off, presumably because he doesn't drink milk. The spot was eventually approved after it was modified so that the man appears unhurt after losing his limbs and there was no expression of pain. Okay? still, this could be a little bit, controversial. And yeah, you don't want to go too much on that. Suddenly, your limbs are falling off, your arms are falling off. That's not good. Okay? Appraising self-regulation. Right? Appraising self-regulation lead to more stringent standards and practices than imposed by legislation. And they claim that. So self-regulation lead to more stringent standards than government does. Right? And but the limitations, resolving a complaint is time-consuming sometimes. Right? Budgeting and staffing constraints limit the number of cases reviewed. Right? Financial support is limited, and there's a lack of power or authority to be a viable alternative to federal or state regulations. Okay? They don't have the authority to be a viable alternative to federal or state regulation. So, American Bar Association, the lawyer group, ABA, report on improvements to self-regulatory system. Right? That. Okay? BBB national program is an effective alternative to government intervention and or litigation. This summarizes how BBB national program helps create a more trustworthy marketplace for consumers and businesses. Okay? Federal agencies. Let's talk about the federal agencies, government side. Okay? Not self-regulatory, right? But a government regulation. Okay? And there are many federal agencies that regulate advertising. Okay? Federal Trade Commission, FTC. Okay? Make sure you understand and remember all those acronyms. Okay? FTC, FCC, FDA, USPS, BAT, for example, right? Federal Trade Commission, FTC, regulates advertising at the federal level and determines whether it is truthful or deceptive. Okay? There's a Federal Communications Commission, because advertising on TV and radio involves radio waves in the air. Food and Drug Administration, FDA, because of the food or drug, in the product in the ad. U.S. Postal Service. When you wonder why does U.S. Postal Service get involved? Because they deliver your mail, right? Deliver your mail and advertising message. Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. It used to be called just a BATF, right? As explosives, okay? And because the things relating to alcohol, tobacco, and firearm advertising, so they got involved too. Okay. There is an issue about the advertising and the First Amendment. Okay, advertising First Amendment. After all, we have the First Amendment, right? First Amendment protects commercial speech, right? Yeah, private citizen speech, private speech, and commercial speech as well. Commercial speech is speech that can promote commercial transaction, right? There is something called the Central Hudson Test. Central Hudson Test. It determines the restrictions on commercial speech. How to determine the restrictions on commercial speech. Okay? The freedom expression must be balanced. Okay? Freedom expression must be balanced against competing interests. Okay? Keep that in mind. And the FTC, Federal Trade Commission, right? Federal Trade Commission Act enforces antitrust laws to restrain unfair methods of competition. Okay? And antitrust laws. Wheeler-Lee Amendment. Wheeler-Lee Amendment empowers FTC to act if there was evidence of injury to the public. Right? FTC can issue cease and desist cease and desist orders and levy fines on violators. Okay? They can extend that. They have extended jurisdiction. Okay? FTC. FTC, there is a Bureau of Competition under FTC. Bureau of Competition. It prevents business practices that restrain competition, okay, and enforces antitrust laws. Okay. They have a Bureau of Economics. Bureau of Economics that provides economic analysis and support to antitrust and consumer protection investigations. Okay. It analyzes impact of government regulation on competition and consumers. Okay. There is the Bureau of Consumer Protection. The Bureau of Consumer Protection protects consumers against unfair, deceptive, or fraudulent practices. It investigates and litigates practices alleged to be unfair to consumers. Okay? There is also a division called Division of Advertising Practices. It protects consumers from deceptive and unsubstantiated advertising. Okay? It enforces provisions of the FTC Act. Now this is from the government side, not the self-regulation side. Okay? This Division of Marketing Practices engages in activities related to various marketing and warranty practices. Warranty practices. This is US FTC's Division of Advertising Practice website. Division of Advertising Practices protects consumers from deceptive and unsubstantiated advertising claims. Okay. This the FTC division here. In federal regulations, there's a term called unfairness, right? Because they regulate or they restrict unfair competition, right? But determine unfairness, how you determine what is unfair, fair versus unfair? Determine unfair, the concept of unfairness, right? You determine unfairness on the basis of trade practice that causes substantial physical or economic injury to consumers. Okay? That may be unfair. Or the practices that could not reasonably be avoided by consumers. Yeah? A reasonable consumer cannot avoid, then it's probably unfair. Okay? It must not be outweighed by countervailing benefits to consumers or competition, right? So to establish unfairness. Okay? Also about deceptive advertising. There are advertising that the federal government perceive as deceptive advertising. That's advertising that is untrue or may mislead the consumer. Untrue, not truthful, and may mislead the consumer. Okay. There's a term called the puffery, and the puffery is okay. Okay. Advertising that praises items with subjective opinions, superlatives, or exaggerations, and states no specific facts. I say, hey, the #1 pizza in the world, or #1 pizza in America, right? That's the puffery. And deception is different. Deception is a misrepresentation, omission, or practice that is likely to mislead the consumer, acting reasonably in circumstances to consumers' detriment. Okay, that's deception. Okay? Class action. Sometimes unfair business practice may lead to class action lawsuit. Class action is a legal proceeding in which one or more plaintiffs bring a lawsuit on behalf of a larger group. Okay? The class action lawsuit. Okay? We should know the terms puffery. What is deceptive advertising? Puffery, deception, class action. Okay? Deceptive advertising. The two factors FTC considers in evaluating an ad for deception. The first one, whether there are significant omissions of important information. You skipped the important information. You're missing something, okay? And whether the advertisers can substantiate the claims made for the product or service. Can you substantiate it? Prove it. Yeah? Show me that. Show me how you can show that it's true. Okay. So omissions, substantiations. Okay. Domino's Pizza has this ad here. It's a powerfully exaggerated statement based on opinion, not fact. Right. Domino's Pizza took advantage of the appellate court ruling that the Papa John's slogan is that better ingredients, better pizza was considered puffery. Okay? It ran TV commercials showing the company's head chef, Brian Solano, standing outside a federal court of appeals building in New Orleans, talking about Papa John's and the slogan. Okay, so interesting. Okay. And this one here, Tesla. Tesla can come equipped with an advanced driver assistance program. Right? You may have heard about that, or seen that, or used that, called ADAS, right? Known as the autopilot, that helps with the tasks such as steering within a lane on the highway. Tesla was accused of making deceptive advertising claims regarding its advanced driver assistance system. Okay? Deceptive advertising. Affirmative disclosure. Yeah, sometimes the government may issue, ask you to do affirmative disclosure. It requires advertisers to give information on consequences, conditions, and limitations associated with the use of product or service. Okay, what are the consequences of using your product? What are the conditions you have consumers have to keep, right? What are the limitations, right? Include privacy, country of origin, and labeling. Okay. This example, marketers must follow FTC's country of origin guidelines when labeling products as made in America. Made in America. What is made in America? What if your components is not made in America? It's imported. Right? New Balance labels its shoes as made by America only where the domestic content value is at least 70%. Then they can say that. Right? Advertising substantiation, requires advertisers to substantiate their claims before ad appears, but this is opposed by many advertisers. Okay, marketers are required to have scientific data to substantiate the weight loss claims with scientific data, such as those made in this Herbalife ad. Also, at the FTC charged Skechers with deceiving consumers with the claims made for its shape-up shoes and other toning products, showing in this photo, arguing that the results related to specific muscle activation results could not be substantiated. You have this Kim Kardashian as celebrity endorser, right? Skechers agreed to pay $40 million to settle the charges. $40 million. I don't know how much they paid Kim Kardashian for that appearance. Okay? And consent and cease and desist orders. The FTC may, in handling deceptive advertising, they may issue a consent order. Consent and desist. What's consent order? Consent order is agreement to stop the practice or advertising in question. Stop it. Don't do anymore. right? It does not constitute an admission of guilt by the advertiser. It's not saying that, hey, you're guilty. It's not saying that, but just stop doing that, right? Just consent order. Then there is a cease and desist order. The advertisers must stop advertising claim within 30 days. Stop it. Okay? Refrain from engaging in objectionable practice until after hearing is held. Okay? So that's more severe, right? More severe, more consequential. Here is the FTC complaint procedure. Okay? Complaint procedure. Okay? As a consumer, or as a competitor, or as the FTC staff, you can bring up the issue. And then there's a staff investigation of this, right? And it could be dismissed, right? If it's not dismissed, and then proposed complaint and consent order written, to read consent order, right? Then it's reviewed by commissioners. And then it could be dismissed by the commissioners. Right? But if it's not dismissed, you go to either advertiser or commission. Either the advertiser or commission reject the order, or the advertiser agrees to, or negotiates. Okay? If the advertiser agrees or negotiates with the commission, the case could be resolved. Okay? Here it could be resolved. And if not, the advertiser or commission rejects order, and then there will be a hearing before the administrative law judge. Administrative law judge. Right? There'll be a hearing before the judge, ALJ. Yeah? The judge, could dismiss it. Okay? Or if substantial evidence of violation, cease and desist order will be written by ALJ. Okay, once it's written by ALJ, if the advertiser and FTC agree, then the case is resolved. Right? If the advertiser or APC appeal to the order, disagree, appeal to the order, by the judge, ALJ, then there's going to be another hearing before the commissioners. And during the hearing, after the hearing, before the commissioners, the case could be dismissed or could go to the appeals court. If not, it goes to appeal court. But that's the complaint procedure. You can see it's a very long, complex, procedure. Okay. All right. So. Also, FTC, after handling the deceptive, in their handling of deceptive advertising, they could issue orders for corrective advertising. Yeah, corrective advertising. That is, guilty advertisers should run additional advertising to remedy the deception or misinformation. Okay. You spread the rumor, you spread the lies. Now you have to run the ad again to correct it. Okay? But there is criticism on that. It says the critics says that it infringes on the First Amendment right of freedom of speech. Yeah. What do you think? Do you agree or not? Okay? Agree or disagree? Okay? And there are new developments in federal regulation by the FTC, enforcing existing guidelines, particularly in telemarketing, internet privacy. They're doing that. They're eliminating false email advertising. Okay. They're stopping deceptive and unsubstantiated health claims. Stopping fraud that targets financially distressed consumers, right? Protecting consumers' online privacy and the collection of sensitive information. Okay? Releases the self-regulatory principles for online behavior advertising. Okay? These are new developments in federal regulation by FTC. Okay? There are additional federal regulation agencies that like the Federal Communications Commission, FCC, that regulates broadcast communication, radio and TV. Okay? It enforces laws governing the airing of offensive, indecent, and profane material involved in issues affecting publicity and public relations, considering regulating use of product placements in TV shows. Product placements in TV shows. Okay? Janet Jackson's wardrobe malfunction during the 2004 Super Bowl halftime show led to greater enforcement of obscenity laws by the FCC. Okay. Remember that? Wardrobe malfunction. Okay. The Food and Drug Administration, or FDA. Okay. Food and Drug Administration, FDA, has authority over the labeling, packaging, branding, ingredient listing, and advertising of packaged goods, packaged foods, and drug products and cosmetics. Okay? FDA requires caution and warning labels on potentially hazardous products. Okay? FDA can seize products on charges of false and misleading advertising. Can seize the products. Okay? That's FDA. Okay? The Nutritional Labeling and Education Act requires that labels be easy for consumers to understand, like this nutrition facts of this thing. You know what that is? 8 servings per container. 8 servings is 2/3 of a cup, 55 grams, right? The amount per serving, the calories, 230. The whole thing is based on a 2,000 calories a day diet. Okay, how much fat, cholesterol, sodium, total carbohydrate, protein, vitamin, calcium, iron, potassium in there. Okay. The FDA also they have policies, health-related claims, and labeling on food products. Okay, to regulate the police's health-related claims and labeling on products, food products. To regulate advertising and promotion of tobacco products. Okay, now include e-cigarettes and other tobacco products and marijuana. Okay, it recommends changes in direct-to-consumer drug advertising, DTC drug advertising. Requires drug companies to submit TV ads for review before they run it. Yeah, you just submit a TV ad for review. Okay? Imposes fines for false and misleading ads. Okay? FDA. Okay? This one example here, Truth, has been a very effective youth smoking prevention campaign by American Legacy Foundation. Okay? Which was created and funded by the 4 largest tobacco companies. Its mission has been broadened to inspiring life free from smoking, vaping, and nicotine. And vaping has become an important focus for the organization. Vaping. Okay? All right. And Juul, or Juul, e-cigarettes, the use of that or vaping among the middle and high school students has increased from just 1.5% in 2011 to 10% in 2022, with over 2.5 million teens and preteens currently using the product. Okay? This increase can in part be attributed to ads such as this one from Juul that appeals to young people. Okay? Young people. New rules ban the sales to minors, ban free samples, require package warning labels, and the requirement to seek FDA permission to remail on store shelves, and to remain, I think to may remain on stock share shelves. Okay. USPS, Postal Services. It controls deceptive advertising by direct response advertisers. Okay. And Bureau of ATF, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, ATF, regulates and collects tax for the liquor industry, regulates and controls advertising of alcoholic beverages through Federal Alcohol Administration Act. Okay. The Lanham Act is another federal regulation. It prohibits any false description or representation. Okay? Prohibits any false description or representation. The Lanham Act. To win a false advertising lawsuit containing a comparative claim, one must prove, if you have a comparative claim, you must prove that false statements made about advertisers or one's product either deceived or had tendency to deceive a substantial segment of audience. Deception was material or meaningful and can influence purchase decisions. Falsely advertised product or service sold in interstate commerce. Okay? And one incurs loss of sales or goodwill as a result of false statements. Okay? Then you can win the lawsuit. It's hard. Huh? National Association of Attorney Generals, NAAG, regulates airfare advertising, car rental price advertising, advertising dealing with nutrition and health claims in food products. Okay? There is due to deceptive advertising lawsuits, fantasy sports betting sites such as DraftKings now must disclose information to players regarding their odds of winning and to educate them about how their contests operate. Okay? Contests and the sweepstakes in sales promotions. And contests or sweepstakes cannot be classified as lottery. They're not lottery. Okay, cannot be classified as lottery. Full disclosure of promotion is made. Okay, online promotions must comply with the Online Data Privacy Laws, CAN-SPAM Act, Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, and various sites guidelines. Okay. Marketers are required to provide consumers with the full details of a contest or sweepstakes. And disclosure requirements include the exact number of prizes to be awarded and the odds of winning, okay? The duration and termination dates of the promotion, and the availability of lists of winners of various prizes, as seen in this Shannon ad. Okay, they have a I am Cyan selfie contest. Okay, they have this contest and all those guidelines here. Premiums, sales promotions, the premiums we talked about too, right? The premiums is value listed is same as the price at which it's usually sold. It has to be the same. Okay? Children's Advertising Review Unit provides voluntary guidelines for premium offers for children. Okay, we can look at that. Trade allowances and follow stipulations of the Robinson-Patman Act. Okay? It prohibits price discrimination. You cannot discriminate based on price. Okay? Monitors vertical cooperating advertising. On the vertical cooperating advertising. Okay? As to direct marketing as a promotional tool, okay? And there's a Telephone Consumer Protection Act. Marketers who use telephones for selling must follow sets of complex rules developed by FCC. FCC. And there's a Do Not Call, National Do Not Call Registry. Allows consumers to opt out of most commercial telemarketing. You just have to register your home numbers. And to get included in the National Do Not Call registry. Then they cannot call you. Okay? Scrutinized by self-regulated groups like Data and Marketing Association and American Teleservices Association. Okay? And catalog choice aim to reduce number of unsolicited catalog mailings, promotes sustainable industry's best practices catalogs. This online tool from the Association of Direct Marketers, shows consumers how to manage the direct mail they receive from marketers. You can say, you take control. What type of marketing messages do you want to receive? They're here to help. Okay. Marketing on the internet, right? Claims made on internet ads or on websites must also be substantiated. Okay. Privacy and security issues. Undisclosed profiling of consumers by web marketers is a major concern nowadays. Okay. Network Advertising Initiative, NAI, is a self-regulatory code developed by companies that collect internet usage data. Digital Alliance Ad Choices Program is a self-regulatory initiative on that. Okay. Their concerns over privacy and security have increased with the popularity of social media sites. Okay. The Network Advertising Initiative website, NAI, provides consumers with information about online advertising practices. And here on Federal Trade Commission, Disclosure 101 for social media influencers. Endorsers must follow the FTC guideline for promoting a brand on social media. Yeah, you must follow that. Follow that guidelines. Okay. There is the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, or COPPA, of 1998. It restricts collecting information from children via the internet. Okay. Requires websites directed at children and young teens to have a privacy policy posted on homepage. Okay. Requires websites aimed at children under the age of 13 to obtain parental permission to collect most types of personal information and to monitor chat rooms and bulletin board. Okay. Online endorsement. Okay. There are guidelines for online endorsements. Online endorsers and bloggers must disclose any material connection to a company or brand. It also applies to third-party networks. Native advertising. Online ads that are similar in format and topic to content on publisher's website. That's called native advertising. That looks like contents, right? But it's actually an ad. So FTC guidelines ensure that there's no misleading representation or omissions about online advertisements' true nature or source. Okay. Spamming, something you should be very familiar with. Sending of unsolicited multiple commercial electronic messages is considered spamming. Okay. Controlling the Assault of Non-Solicited Pornography and Marketing Act, or CAN-SPAM Act of 2004. Controlling the Assault of Non-Solicited Pornography and Marketing Act, CAN-SPAM. Okay. Anti-spamming legislation that provides general requirements for commercial emails is available. Okay. The violations include both civil and criminal penalties. Violations can be punished by them, spamming. And that's all I have for this chapter. Okay. And thank you. I'll talk to you next time. Thank you and goodbye.